When a pinner makes a search in the search bar, Pinterest then gives them what they deem to be the best pins for that search right there at the top of their feed. And they decide what should be at the top of that feed based on that search by looking at the quality of the pin and the content behind the pin and the engagement that the pin gets. It all adds up. So how do you get your pin at the top of the feed? How do you get seen in Pinterest search? Hey guys, it's Tabby, here with Simple Pin Media. Let's talk about Pinterest search and how you can get in there at the top. Not just in there, but at the top is where you want to be. First of all, here's my caveat. When I say you're gunning for Pinterest search at the top, likely it's probably only going to be 1, 2, maybe 3 pins that always show up at the top when pinners, your audience, searches for that content. Some of you will be searching on YouTube here and think that like every single one of your pins should be just at the top of search every single time. That's just not going to happen. That's not even how it happens for the bigwigs. It's usually the very few pieces of content that always get them at the top. And then the rest is just staying relevant and consistent. Some of it's at the very bottom, some of it's kind of in the middle. Very few actually are at the top of search. I just want you to keep that in mind as we talk about different ways that you can get seen in search. So in order to determine the relevancy of a pin in search results, Pinterest considers these 4 factors. First, domain quality. Yes. Some people don't know this, or they don't give a whole lot of thought to this, which is your domain quality. It's not just what the pinners on Pinterest see from the pin, but it's also what they see on the other side of the pin, your website. Is it high quality? If it's not, it's probably, the pin itself is probably going to suffer in search. There are actually a lot of different ways that you can ensure domain quality. One of them, and then probably the easiest way, would be to claim your website on Pinterest. But other than that, you want to make sure you have great SEO. You want to make sure you have high quality images. You want to have great upload speed, download speed, whatever that is. Also, things like bounce rate is considered. Basically, whatever Google deems as domain quality, high domain quality, Pinterest is probably also going to deem domain quality. That's not what Pinterest said, but I think that kind of trying to meet Google's standards is a good guide for meeting Pinterest standards. Number 2, pin quality. Of course, I talk about pin quality so much. Are you sick of hearing it? Yes, pin quality matters. Image, text, resolution, size, coloring, branding, all of it matters. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Look at your niche on Pinterest. Search for all of the different topics that are in your niche. Look at your competitors, who's doing well, who's showing up at the top of the feed. Use that as your inspiration. If you have all of those things going for you, then your pin will most likely be engaged with more often. And when your pin is engaged with more often, then Pinterest notices that and they say, oh, okay, our Pinterest audience wants more of this. So they're going to put that pin higher up in search. There are a lot of metrics that you could look at as far as determining if your pin is doing well or not. Clicks, saves, engagement, all those kinds of things. Probably the most important metric you want to pay attention to as far as trying to do what Pinterest wants from you. Pay attention to saves. If it's content that is pretty inspirational, then it's probably going to be a pin that your audience is going to save. They want to make sure they keep that gold nugget in their boards. Number 3, pinner quality. So when I say pinner quality, I mean actually like creator quality, meaning you, the creator, the business owner, the product seller, the blogger. So when I say creator quality, I'm talking about how often you show up on the platform. Are you engaging with your audience when they engage with you? Are you commenting back? Are you on the platform yourself? Creating content regularly and then pinning that content regularly. Are you getting your content onto Pinterest? Pinterest is less likely going to put your content up in search if you're just not showing up on Pinterest. And then finally, number 4, topic relevance. There's that word again, relevance. That's important on Pinterest. They want relevancy. The content that you create should be relevant to pinners on Pinterest. Why? Because if it's not relevant, then they're not going to engage with it, and they're not going to save it, and they're not going to want more of it. So make sure that the content you create, the topics you talk about, are relevant. This means you are using things like the trends tool to find out what your audience is actually searching for. And when you can narrow down the phrases, the words that they're searching for most commonly, then you can take those words, use them as your keywords, use them as content inspiration, and create pins and core content that relates to those searches very specifically. And here's the beautiful thing about Pinterest. Your pins go on and on and on forever. Let's say you're ahead of your time. You have this idea of how to do this certain style that is not catching on right now. But like in 6 months, maybe it's suddenly like, oh my gosh, this is so cute and new and fashionable. And then suddenly that pin takes off. That's how it works. So what I'm saying is there's always hope for a brighter tomorrow. Let's take what we talked about today and just like break it down. 3 things, 3 action items I want you to do as you think about your Pinterest marketing strategy. Number 1, create quality content regularly. Not only do I want you to create content regularly, but I want you to pin it consistently. Number 2, do your research on keywords, trends, audience search, all of those things. Research, basically it's like Pinterest SEO. Research that stuff. Get to know your audience and what they're searching for, and use those keywords in your pins and content. Number 3, always use a CTA on your pins to encourage your audience to take action. Engage. I talked a little bit before about pin distribution and how it works on Pinterest. If you want to learn more about that, watch this next, and I'll see you guys next week.